Give me Zabba Zabba Da.
Give me some. Rats.
That's a fun thing to do.
Have you ever played as Knuckles in Sonic Adventure 2, all of his levels? When you go to dig, he goes, and if you don't find anything, rats.
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 All right, that's pretty good. I support this.
I don't want another episode talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, though.
No, we spent a lot of time in the last episode talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, or specifically Shadow the Hedgehog. So we're gonna put that in the cupboard, and we're gonna close the cupboard, and then we're gonna pick up the cupboard, and we're gonna put it out at the curb so it gets picked up with the rest of the trash.
Why don't we just light it on fire for warmth? It gets cold at night.
We can do that too.
Actually, speaking of Sonic the Hedgehog, Balan Wonderworld.
Yes, Shaolin Wonderland.
Remember Shaolin Showdown?
Vaguely?
Same. I vaguely remember that show. I remember liking it, but I don't remember it.
I remember thinking, this is kind of neat.
There was a cowboy that did kung fu. That was pretty entertaining.
Yeah. Cowboys who do kung fu are always awesome. Like, you've got the classic show Kung Fu starring everyone's favorite David Carradine, in which he does the fucking Iron Fist thing where he's a white person who was raised by Shaolin monks and now he knows Kung Fu.
The Iron Fist thing.
Yes.
People got really mad at Iron Fist when it was coming out.
That's just the thing.
I mean the Netflix show, not like the comic book. I think people were fine with the comic book.
I know. It's because people didn't know about the comic book. And then everyone watches Netflix.
Dude, because I want to be some dude that goes and learns kung fu from monks in a mystical place that gets a magical punch power.
Yeah, that sounds dope as fuck. I would call myself Mr. Fisto.
I would call myself Mr. Fister.
The Master Fister.
Yeah, and I'll show up and I'll make sure every single bad guy gets a good fisting.
I show up and I fist the bad guys. The cops are like, hey, can you not say it like that? The media shows up and is like, all right, this is the last time. Can we please just like rework your branding a little bit? Nah, dude, it's what I do. I show up, the bad guys are here, and then I just fist them real good.
Reminds me of the Mac bike from It's Always Sunny. Never stop pumping.
I remember that. Oh my god. That's such a good fucking bit.
The Ass Blaster 9000.
And someone built that.
Someone in the prop department had to put that together. That'd be cool to be like a prop guy. It sucks that you have to live essentially in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It sucks that you have to live in Los Angeles for pretty much any showbiz job.
Los Angeles is not a pleasant place to live.
Or apparently Georgia now, because everything's made in Georgia.
I don't want to live in Georgia either.
I really don't want to live in Georgia. I imagine it's hot.
Yeah, it's probably hot and super muggy, and I bet there's some kind of weird, like, insect pest down there.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't want to go to Georgia.
I don't want to go to Sector 86. I can tell you that.
Yes, I don't want to go to 86.
Because this is the Protagonist Seat. It's a podcast where Alex, my co-host, and I, Ian, talk about seasonal anime.
Hello.
We all fight together.
We fight together. Yeah, so 86. in this episode, she tries her best to not be racist.
And it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy to not be racist when your society is built around being racist.
Yeah.
Like, her friend and her have a conversation. Her friend's like, hey, you should just not bother with not being racist because it's really hard and we can't do anything about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, she's taken the, it's hard, so I don't want to do it, so I'm not gonna approach. Which, in my opinion, is a bad take.
Yeah, it's like, I can't fix these injustices, so I'm not going to bother. Meaning she's fully aware it's not right, but she's like, can't do anything about it.
All right. I had some coworkers who, well, I shouldn't say had, but I have some coworkers who, when like all of the Black Lives Matter protests were starting, were like, I just don't know if it's my place. And I had to try really hard not to be like, hey, that's a bad take. It's everyone's place. We gotta fight it.
Yep, but she's just one of those people where she's like, there's no point to it. Same with her uncle is like, yeah, your dad really thought there was a lot of injustice and stuff out there, but he was naive because he had the same thing as you were. Oh, look at this problem. But, what am I going to do about it?
Her father ended up we learned some of her trauma for when she went to the freaking war zone.
He was going to fly over the war zone, which just doesn't sound like a good idea.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad idea.
Let me just take my low-flying helicopter over an active war zone.
And I think her uncle had kind of a good point when he was telling her about it. He was like, your father is just as racist as everyone else because he flew over a battlefield with you because we don't die on battlefields.
Yeah.
That's basically the thing.
He was just so ignorant to the reality of everything.
He wanted to pretend that he was fighting for justice, but he really just didn't get it. And it's very deep.
Yeah, because that's how ingrained it is in their society, that even the people that think they're helping are not actually helping.
Yeah, that's how that shit lasts so long.
It's like those companies that'll do like a virtue signaling thing where it's like, we're not going to actually try to fight for justice or anything. We're just going to change our little banner for a day and be like, we're all about equality and everything, and then go back to status quo tomorrow.
Yeah, and none of it will ever
matter. Kids in like third world countries work in sweatshops to make us shoes.
It's the worst. I hate it when companies do shit like that.
Silence, brand.
There's one of the best things that like pissed me off recently. Jeff Bezos stepped down as the CEO of Amazon, and then like a couple weeks later turned to Amazon and made a statement where he was like, listen, Amazon, you guys really need to treat your workers better. What you guys are doing to your workers is just not right.
And I was
like, fuck you, Jeff Bezos. You did that. That's a thing you did. And now you're like, man, look at these guys.
You make a huge problem. Like, you just go in your kitchen, make a huge mess. Someone comes in to clean it and be like, wow, I can't believe you're not taking care of that mess fast enough.
Listen, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should be more on guard for messes in the kitchen. Imagine like a guard at a concentration camp going up to one of the prisoners and being like, man, these Nazis are real dicks, right? Yeah, dude, you are.
It's like, I'm not like these guys, though. I see you guys as people. I can't do anything to fix this situation, though, but I'll be nice to you.
I'll be nice.
I'll pal around,
A perfect comparison to 86. But she is trying to change things at least a little bit. She learns everyone's name.
Yeah, and they even say to her that they don't view her as an equal or a comrade because, obviously, she's still in her cushy high castle while they're all down there.
Yeah. And that's a valid standpoint.
They think she's a good person, but she's not one of them. She's not an equal to them.
And
they are aware that she can't change everything herself.
Right. We also learn the reason that Theo is so pissed off about it is because she reminds him of there was a commander who was one of the silver people who
Yeah, I think they're
actually
called Alba.
Yeah, Alba.
Yeah, there was a commander that was actually a white person that fought with them.
Yeah, and
The
he died.
Previous Laughing Fox.
He died because he was in the rear guard. And it's like, that guy was pretty cool, but he was also probably not really changing anything.
Yeah.
Still doing a little bit more than like just being nice, but still.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he got that down there and fought with them as like equals.
Yeah. We got the stinger. That's basically all that happens this week. But the stinger we get at the end,
yeah,
the post credits.
She asks Shin his name, and he gives her his name along with his last name, and she's like, "Oh, do you know so and so who had that name?" And then he has a bunch of weird PTSD flashbacks of some person.
And he's like, "Yeah, he's my brother."
Because I'm assuming when her helicopter went down, that's the person that saved her.
I would think so.
Yeah.
But I'm again, I just don't know.
And his call sign apparently was Dullahan. And the emblem that Shin has on his is Undertaker, which is a headless skeleton. I'm assuming he inherited that person's mech.
Probably. We also learned that Shin has the names and like engraved plates of 521 dead 86ers?
I thought it was I knew it was a lot, but that's a lot more than I expected.
Yeah. And that shit is crazy. I understand now why Shin doesn't really talk. The man's been through a lot.
Yeah. I'm liking the show more with each episode. In the first couple of ones, I thought it was kind of like, all right, because the whole this is an allegory for racism thing was kind of on the nose.
Yeah. Oh, not even kind of.
Like this is heavy-handed. Where I'm like, okay, I get the message here. You're not doing anything that anyone else hasn't before, but it's actually now very interesting in the way they're doing it and calling out certain types of it.
Yeah, they're
because normally if they make a show about racism, it's usually really simple with we must destroy all of this other people.
But this is a lot more subtle. There's a lot more
like
nuance.
The institutionalized types of it.
This feels like the kind of racism that people need to like learn about.
Yeah, where the ones that because it's a lot of hey, I'm not a racist, I'm helping, but I'm contributing to the problems with a racist society unknowingly.
Exactly.
Because the lack of education on it.
This, for whatever fucking reason, this show...
This is a fucking leftist podcast.
I mean, we both fall more on that spectrum than I feel like a lot of people do. Or at least some people. I don't know where the world stands anymore on this shit. But, like, you don't get a lot of interesting dialogues where it feels like they actually kind of put the thought into, let's shine a light on all of this.
Yeah. In the other shows, usually it's just, they are the same as us. We should not kill them.
And that's kind of where this starts. But then they break that mold.
Yeah.
And it's good. We need more nuanced dialogues about race relations in the world. And that's 86. An anime about unmanned drones that aren't.
Next up, I think, is Higehiro?
I believe so.
This is another show I really am liking. I'm liking everything. This is a season where I'm not like, oh, can we cut this one? Or it's not bad enough to cut, but I still want it gone.
This is a very good season.
Yeah, I like this show. I liked how the first half of this episode went, where She wants a part-time job, and he's like, yeah, that's probably good for you. It can't be good for your mental health staying home all day like this in this
That
one-room apartment.
that's something I was a little bit worried about.
So she goes and gets a job at the local combini.
And she has a coworker who's pretty chill, kind of.
Yeah, but the first thing she wants to do when she hears she's living with some guy is to go and meet this person, which is, good. Because when
I
you hear about
I
like some girl who dropped out of high school and is living with some guy that is not a member of her family, that's a little sus.
I would probably want to go check up on them as well.
Yeah. In fact, I found the whole thing kind of nice, how like she was looking out for her. The only thing that was kind of weird was that scene at the end where she's talking to him, where it makes it sound like she knows her better than she really should, because they've only worked a single shift together. Where she's
Yeah,
like, she has different types of smiles, and I'm like, how would you know that?
you've worked with her for one day.
You've maybe known her for about 16 hours total at this point.
You don't. How
You don't get
much?
that kind of a read on a person.
The only thing I can think about is like, because they work in a
Everything else
combini.
was fine. Everything else was perfectly done. Everything else was just creme de la creme. Great character introduced. Great dynamic. Great with the rest of the cast. And then that scene, I was like, I don't think you would know her that well to know that. It's not like you're her best friend since like growing up.
The only
You
thing I
just
can
worked with her today.
right. The only thing I can think about is like she saw that she had a freaking customer service smile, which like, yeah, everyone who works in customer service does.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm gonna drop some hot knowledge on you. 9 times out of 10, if you see someone working in retail or customer service like that and they're smiling, it's not a genuine smile.
I don't think I've ever genuinely smiled at a customer.
I honestly don't think I have either. Because, like, that's way too much internal emotional effort. Freaking scraping up a reason to smile at this random person you're going to interact with for 4 minutes.
And most of the time, they're just like the worst.
Yeah, dude, customers suck.
I hate them. I hate all
People
of
are
them.
bad. I don't like. I'm glad I don't have to work with people anymore because that was bad.
It working with customers and just the general public it made me go from a pretty positive person to someone that just genuinely does not like mankind. It'll do that. It'll just kill that little like spark inside of you.
It does. I worked for pennies for 4.5 years about, and like that that jaded me. It jaded me so hard. It just takes everything out of you.
It just makes you stop caring.
Hey guys, if you see someone mistreating someone in the service industry, you have my permission to tell that person to suck your dick. And you don't even have to have a dick. You could
What's great? They can't do anything about that.
Exactly.
Because you don't work there. What are they gonna do?
Part of me kind of wants to. Cause like, I hate it. I used to be that person. I remember once I was working a Black Friday and we ran out of our luggage special in like an hour and a half because it's Black Friday. And someone kept asking me to check in the back. And I did that thing that everyone does when you ask them to check in the back.
Yeah, you go back, but you don't check.
Right, because you know you don't have any because that's your job and you're hopefully not that stupid.
Yeah, you just go up back there, check your phone for a minute, and then go back up front and be like, we didn't have it.
Exactly. Because, like, if I am an employee and I tell you we don't have something, that's because I know we don't have it.
I usually, at the job I used to have where people would ask me that, I would just tell them, you're not the first person to ask for this today. I already checked.
Yeah. But I had we ran out of our luggage special, and I remember one dude kept fucking asking me, and I was like, dude, I got literally 7 people asking me for different things. I don't have time to keep telling you that we don't have it. which is something I didn't say out loud because that was against store policy because we had to be nice to everyone. But I was like, yeah, I'll go, I'll check. This dude fucking grabs my arm and is like, "You're really gonna check, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'll go check." And then I just ignored him and avoided him for the rest of the night. Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Don't touch people. That's weird.
It's weird and wrong.
It is.
Dude, the general public is just stupid, and I hate them.
I've
this
come
pandemic
to
has also made me realize too how stupid the public is.
Do you remember when the pandemic first started? There had to be like massive pushes to be like, "All right, guys, wash your hands." We know you're adults, and we know you've been in theory doing this since you were a little kid. But apparently we need to have another mass push that like don't
there's a lot of gross people.
Wash your hands. I've noticed it at work too, which is why I don't eat the things anyone brings in anymore. Because I'm like, bro, I've seen you leave that fucking bathroom without washing your hands. I don't care if you were just sitting in a stall playing on your fucking phone. Like, at least put some water on it. Just wet your hands a little bit to make me feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
I wear gloves all the time, and I still wash my hands before break.
Just do that.
It's not that hard. It takes like 5 seconds. Well, hopefully a little bit longer than that. But like...
Oh. But back to the episode.
Oh yeah, we were talking about a show.
The second half I didn't like as much, mostly because I don't like Goto-san.
I also took issue with that because I was mad that I was right.
Yeah, now she likes him. Or apparently did the whole time, but turned him down for weird reasons.
It wasn't the right time.
And even now is still, they're both admitted to each other that they like each other, but he's going to wait till she asks him, and she's not going to ask him right now. Even though they both like it. Why?
I don't get it.
But that. And apparently he's going to bring her to meet Sayu now.
Yes.
I don't know how he's explaining that to people because they have a different sort of thing for everybody. His Kohai believes it's a relative of his. The girl at the convenience store knows that he's like a brother, but not actually.
I do like how they tried to pass it off as like, yeah, we're childhood friends. And she's like, you're 9 years older than her? You would have been in high school when she's in elementary school. And she knows it's bullshit, and she even called him out on it, and she's like, listen, I want you to tell me the truth. And he was like, I don't want to tell you because that's something that Sayu wants to hide, and I don't feel comfortable revealing something that she wants to keep hidden.
If she says I'm like a brother, then that's what it is.
And you know what? I can kind of respect that.
I was like, yeah. And that's what makes her realize, okay, he's a good guy.
This dude is straight up. He's just in a weird spot.
And I wonder how that's going to now work with Sayu meeting Goto-san.
Hello, Sayu, high schooler I live with. This is my big titty boss that I want to have a relationship with.
Even though she's the worst girl out of all the three that we've been introduced to.
She's so wishy-washy. It bothers me.
She had a really awkward conversation at dinner with him about her virginity.
Yeah, because for whatever reason, he was like, I guess he wanted to test her or something to see how serious she was, but she's like, I'll do anything to prove I actually like you. And he's like, would you have sex with me? Which is something I don't even feel comfortable making jokes about.
Yeah, that's
creepy.
Yeah.
That's the creepiest moment that the main characters ever had. And watching him like try and dig himself out of it was a little weird. I'm with you on this one. I didn't really like the second half. But
You can tell that this was written by a dude.
yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Like the entire dinner scene just feels like just weird. Like this is not how two adults would have a conversation.
Right. It's because these are adults. These are people who have been working with each other for a long time.
And are at least in their mid to late 20s.
I don't fully understand why they still can't seem to interact like real people. Which is weird because I find most of the interactions in the show pretty refreshing because usually everyone's pretty honest and open with each other, which is sure as shit refreshing from so many shows where no one ever talks about anything, and then
where everyone is really cryptic with their feelings, and everyone has to like go through misunderstandings.
Yeah, it's nice to have one that's finally like, hey, we gotta have a chat. You tell me what you want from this, and I'm like, hey, I like that.
Yeah, that was the only thing that bothered me is like the second half. It was just kind of not as well written.
I kind of wonder if...
I just don't like Goto-san. Any scene with her doesn't feel very great, and she also is like my least favorite character.
Yeah, I don't particularly care for her either. I kind of wonder if the writer was like, I need Goto-san to A, be interested in the main guy actually, and B, also be introduced to Sayu. So I think I'm just gonna just beeline through that with one dinner scene.
Because after that point, that kind of ruins that kind of throws away any sort of the whole, oh, I got to keep this whole thing under wraps that I got a high school girl living here, because that's all the characters we at least care about or have been introduced to. No one else matters at that point, because the boss is the big one.
That's fucking everybody.
Yeah. So I guess it's fine now. That's not an issue related to the plot anymore. That's no longer the problem.
No. It feels like something they might bring up in like 2 seasons. Not that I think this is going to get 2 seasons, but like further down the line in the... What is this? Most of the stuff is based off of mangas or light novels, but it feels like setting up a danger plot point for later, basically.
I thought that was going to be the big thing, is like he has to constantly keep it secret from his boss, but now that's going to be a thing where, this is my niece? Is that what we're running with? We're going to run with niece?
I don't know. I don't know where this is going anymore. Like, I don't know where the conflict is going to lie.
Yeah. I'm going to be disappointed if the conflict then becomes just all the girls competing for his affection. That's the drama now.
I hope not.
Because they're all fine with each other's existence.
I can kind of see it happening, though, because we know Work Kohai wants the D. Now we know that Goto-san wants the D.
And they're all aware that the others probably want the D, except they probably don't think the high school girl does.
Probably
which
not.
Makes her the sleeper hit. They're not expecting it.
I would give them big props if Sayu was never like a romantic interest. Like she just never evolved past being friends with him.
I see that being how it's gonna go, though.
Yeah. I know you right.
That's just, I don't know, that's how the
genre works.
They didn't call the series I shaved and then got rejected by my boss, but then my boss was fine with it and decided to date me. Also, I took in a high school girl. Not really important, though.
I got rejected by my boss, and then I shaved, and then my boss took me back. So that's pretty cool. Also, I live with a high school girl.
Yeah, the high school girl is the core focus of the plot.
Yeah. I still like this show, though. Mostly because I like the scenes. I feel like, in general, the scenes where people are talking to each other are very well written. It's just anything revolving around Goto-san is weirdly bad.
Yeah.
But everything else is still pretty enjoyable. Like
You know what
I
was
like
yours? You can finish your thing.
I like Sayu's work senpai. Like I think she's cool. She's a different character and she
Yeah.
has her own motives and she's not stupid. I like when people aren't stupid.
Yeah, she seems like she's been around the block.
Yes. But anyway, go ahead.
I was gonna say what else is really good and what I'm really enjoying is Shadow's House.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That was a really cool episode. It's really good. We get to know some of the other dolls. We get Sean.
Sean is dope. I like Sean a lot.
Yeah, Sean's just sick of everyone's shit.
Sean is here to do a good job for his master, and he doesn't give a fuck about anything else, and it's great.
And he needs glasses, but that his Shadow Master doesn't wear glasses, so he can't wear them, which sucks.
Yeah, sucks to be Sean. We've got Rum, who
I don't know if she was if the name Rum was intended to be connected to The Shining because she talks to her finger. I'm like, was this a Shining reference? You know, like Red Rum.
That's what I was wondering, but I don't know because she calls her finger Rummy, and
I feel like it's a Shining reference.
I think so. That's what it feels like to me too, but I just don't know. It's weird. But she's like quiet, mousy and shitty at her job.
But yeah, they get in trouble because they have to go and do the night shift and go on patrol to find the cause of where the scorches are coming from.
Yeah, because they tell Barbie to fuck off, but politely. And Barbie doesn't take that very kindly because Barbie's a bitch.
Yeah. Barbie is a bitch.
Fuck Barbie, dude.
And then there's an ass kisser dude who is one of the dudes we see in the trailer or the opening.
I feel like he's going to be a secondary antagonist because he's the kiss ass. He's the one who's going to have like lofty ambitions.
He just wants to make his master look good, so he just is the biggest I'll do what I'm told kind of guy, and he punches Sean just because Sean was rude to Barbie, who is the worst.
Yeah, Sean was kind of rude to someone who was extremely shitty, but also in power. So that means Sean had to get punched.
Because dolls aren't supposed to question things, though.
And we even get a scene where he's telling his master about it, and his master's like, fucking good work, man. Awesome. We love that. Fuck that guy. He's a dick. And fuck Barbie, too. She's a bitch.
We see Mousy Girl's shadow mistress, too, but she doesn't say anything.
I get the feeling that's kind of why Mousy Girl is so mousy.
But then that's neat how we see that the other shadows recognize how close Emilico is with Kate, because they're like, whoa, you get bread? She gives you shadow food?
Yeah, after they defeat the big phantom, she shares bread with them. And they're like, holy shit, this is Shadow's bread.
Because I guess the debut is coming soon, because we find that out.
But unfortunately, Emilico has been on freaking night shift duty, so she hasn't been able to share information with Kate, because I guess Kate's been learning about it, or at least knows more about it.
Yeah.
I'm excited and nervous, because I don't want someone I like to die.
It's just a really cool episode of them like exploring the place, and then her becoming friends with the others. Like, I like the part where she ends up figuring out it's a trap door and deciding to dive through it head first, even though she did not need to do so. And he's even like, you could have just opened it normally.
Yeah, but she's got to run after Rum. I love when
they beat it without water. They just like hit it, because apparently Sean's pretty strong.
Sean kicks it, and because Sean is a modern Hercules, just bam, one kick and done. But then they figure out the real problem. Yay, good for you guys.
And the three of them become good friends. Also, while they were exploring Sean and Emilico, went to the route that apparently no one is supposed to go because they thought she went down that way, and it's full of booby traps that could potentially kill them.
Yeah, it's like it goes to the front door, and
they're
they
like,
get
"Yo,
a
this could kill us,"
D&D.
and then after they're like, maybe we shouldn't question this because shadows aren't supposed to, or dolls aren't supposed to question the shadows.
Yeah,
Let's just
we'll
go and
keep
pretend we saw nothing.
exactly. She definitely didn't make it this way. Let's just go. I really like the part where they're walking down the hallway and Emilico pulls out the bread roll from her apron and Sean actually like chuckles at it and he's like, why do you keep bread in your apron? That's weird. And we get a little bit of emotion out of Sean because Sean is stoic. He's a stoic boy.
But I'm glad that Sean and Rum are going to be like secondary characters now.
Me too. I like him. I like all the like even the characters I hate, I still kind of like in a way.
Yeah, Barbie's interesting.
She is. She has short man syndrome, but is a woman.
Short woman syndrome.
Short woman syndrome.
But yeah, it's cool, and I'm waiting for the next episode.
Yeah, the next episode is actually called The Debut.
The boot.
The debut. Das Boot.
Das Boot. Das Boot, yeah.
It's just a one-to-one reenactment of the movie Das Boot, but with Shadow's House characters. It's going to be 2 hours long.
It's a Shadow House battle royale.
It probably will be, from the sounds of it.
But
I'm looking forward to it. They've been talking about this for a couple episodes. I want to know what's up.
You know what we learned what's up in?
Zombieland Saga?
Zombieland Saga.
Zombieland Saga.
Zombieland Saga Revenge. We learned that Fran Shushu, they're fine. They can make it on their own.
They do a good job.
So Junko's all depressed this episode until she gets some helpful advice from Tatsumi, who's been mostly just kind of watching.
Tatsumi is cool because it seems like for the most part he is like, hey, you guys do this shit yourselves until
and then
he
I'll
needs
show up in
to
the
step
11th
in.
hour when you need help.
Exactly. Tatsumi has good dramatic timing. His speech is amazing because he just like talks about his guitar and how it's always been there when he needs that super special boost. And I feel bad for the guitar later.
Yeah, because he keeps saying smash it, but he probably did not literally mean to smash the guitar.
Yeah. I think he meant like the artistic wall or the doubt or whatever.
But she smashes the actual guitar, which is just great because his face just goes like, because he goes on about how important that guitar was to him. He's like, it's been with me through thick and thin.
This guitar, the chords have resonated with my soul. They're there whenever I need to quash my doubts.
And I do love at the end when they're taping it, or they're gluing it back together.
Yeah, she's super. It's like her, the dog, and Tay. It's very good. And the song is also very good. We get 2 songs. Cause
yeah, the first one is actually like they're playing a rock song.
It feels like they mixed the metal instrumentals with the like the rap vocals almost.
Yeah. Then the second song they do is the one we've heard before where they're essentially all electrified.
Yeah, we get the I don't even know what to call it. It's like an electronica remix.
I wonder how the plot is going to develop with those guys who are showing up to all their concerts and investigating them. Because that's kind of been the background thing, even though it's happening still.
Me too.
Like, are we going to get something from that this season? Or are they going to be like, season 3?
Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see in season 3.
In season 3. What's the subtitle for season 3?
Zombieland Saga Retribution.
Retribution. That's good shit.
That is good shit. But yeah, it was a good episode. I'm also the Iron Frill girls called them out on TV as their main rivals. So, yeah, that'll probably boost their popularity.
Probably. I like the scene where I tells off the Iron Frill girl and is like, listen, Fran Shushu, they're my gals. And even without me, you better keep your fucking eyes on them. They're going to shred you.
And then at the end, when she's trying to recruit her again in front of the rest of the band, Junko's like, no, number 3 belongs to us.
And she almost pulls her arm off again.
But yeah, it was good.
It was.
I have mixed feelings, though, this week on Iruma. The new character, I'm not sure how to feel about him. When he first appeared, I was like, oh my god, this guy is annoying.
I hate him.
Noise.
I hate him.
I liked later on kind of some of the stuff where it's introduced his skill as charisma.
I did like that bit.
And it's like he can draw everybody's attention, but that's it.
He does not make everyone like him. And from the sounds of it,
he's like a Spanish or something. Romario.
Yeah.
Romare.
I don't know. I don't like his fucking. He
is extra. A man touched me for 0.6 seconds.
That's more than I could handle. Because Iruma steps in.
Yeah, because it turns out this guy is part of the disciplinary committee and wants to be the student council president, so it's clear that he put that spell on Amari's mind, which made her super dainty.
It is very obvious. This is a power play.
Because he enacted some decree which can basically make someone able to challenge the student council president for the right to be the student council president. And I do like where he's like talking to all the other students. He gets up there and says, I'm gonna make it so there's no homework, no tests, we're gonna add a second lunchtime, we're gonna add all this fun stuff to the school. And they're like, wow. And then one guy goes, wait, can you actually do all that? I can make no promises.
I did think that was pretty funny.
It's like, no, I'm not sure if I can, but I'll at least try, and that's more than the current student council's doing.
And you know what? That works. There's something weirdly honest about that I can get behind.
And then the other group is kind of just like, yeah, you go, President. You go. And they're mostly giving her pity than actual enthusiasm.
Because she's all timid and kind of shitty. It's not the same.
And essentially, Iruma and the student council are the ones running things because she's just not able to. So they're dividing all the work amongst the 5 of them.
And that's a lot. That's a lot of work to divide amongst 5 people. And it's hard, but I believe they can do it. And Iruma actually does something that I'm curious about why he didn't do it earlier. He talks to the ring.
He said to the ring too. He's like, "Well, I've just been busy," and he has been busy. That's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, the new character is annoying.
He is irritating as fuck.
He also breaks into a musical at one point where he basically just talks about himself.
I hated it. Like, he started breaking into song and I audibly groaned. I was like, no. Please, no. Apparently, though, the only thing that's keeping Amari in that state is like some kind of mental snag that the spell is caught on. So that's why she hasn't reverted yet. And she asks Iruma to meet her after school. And then she
I imagine she's acting, though. It's probably not. She's probably not back to normal.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm curious if he actually has to reject her in order to get her back to her previous state.
Or he's got to wear something fluffy. And that'll snap her back to normal.
He will mentally scar her back to normal.
I did like the part 2 where he slapped the guy's hand.
Me
He
too.
was like, I think it's rude to touch a girl's hair without her permission.
And then you get the Doki Doki face from...
I do like the student council characters now, too. I feel like he's really bonded with them. And they're like, yeah, I'm glad you did that. I was 2 seconds away from doing that myself.
I feel more attached to the student council class dudes than I
the actual
do
classmates.
Yeah. Because, like, there's Jazz.
I did like the scene where Asmodeus is talking, or Jazz is talking to Asmodeus, and he's just trying to start conversation with him, and he's like, why would this concern me?
This is none of my concern. I don't want to talk to you. Oh.
And then the second his phone rings, Iruma-sama!
Yeah, because Iruma reaches out to him and Clara for help.
Or the gaming dude is basically sitting there having to deal with Clara, and she's destroying everything, and they're like, man, how do Asmodeus and Iruma deal with her? Like, play with her 24/7 every day?
I feel so bad for the gaming club, because, like, it's one thing to have to deal with Asmodeus, because, like, he's just kind of an ass. Clara is actually destructive. It's like wrangling a child that has been given cocaine and coffee.
Yes, that is essentially what she is. Although I always forget her power is essentially the Deus Ex like toolkit, which is never actually used in that way, but she can just make anything out of her pockets.
Yes, she's the Tom Bombadil. She is the most powerful, but doesn't do it because she's dumb.
Crouching tiger, hidden badass, or crouching moron, hidden badass.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I hope this arc ends quickly, mostly because I want as little to do with this guy as possible.
Me too. I hope next episode they kick the shit out of him or defeat him thoroughly. Ugh. Just defeat this fucking guy so we don't have to deal with him.
Just get rid of him.
Get rid of him. Eliminate him.
He's annoying.
But the rest of the shows we watched were pretty good. Iruma-kun is usually pretty good, but, you know, you introduce a new character that's not as good, and it's just...
Bad villain.
Yeah. A good or bad villain can really make or break a series.
I don't think... Well, he doesn't feel like he's going to be a main arc villain. He's just here for a little bit.
I bet he did that, but it's going to be revealed that someone else taught him the spell.
Or someone else is the one controlling him, because that's what happened with Amy.
Oh, yeah, the guy who decided to perform a coordinated terrorist attack bombing on the school.
Yeah, who gracefully put in his resignation, or a leave of absence.
Yeah. I'm still kind of looking forward to seeing how this pans out, just because I want to see the heroes win.
Yeah, I mean, I know they will, because at the end he got his crew back together, so they're going to come up with something.
Exactly.
But yeah, if you, transitioning to the ending, if you want to see what happens, then stick around with us. You can subscribe on YouTube if you're on that. That's what most people are on. Just hit that subscribe button. Or if you're not on YouTube, we're on several other podcast platforms. Look how many there are. I can't even hold all these podcast platforms, such as Google Play, Spotify, Deezer, iHeartRadio, iTunes,
and the Libsyn browser podcast thing.
Yes. And did you know we're also on social media?
So
Twitter
many.
and Facebook at Protagonist Seat. I bet you can find out when episodes go live there.
I would bet $1 on that.
Oh, he just made $1 whole.
As usual, our sweet sick song is done by an artist named Popskyy. He does a lot of good music, and I bet you can find his information in the video description below, as
You can
well as
find all
time
sorts of
codes.
things in the video description. I should check out the video description. I bet I can find something interesting there.
You can find things such as time codes
Oh,
and
and there
social
are
media
all the
links.
links.
All of them. It's literally just all down there, linked down there. You can find it.
Wow, how kind of the people who put up this video to do that.
Yeah, no shit. It's really not that hard. I copy pasted it. But anyway, we appreciate you for sticking around and hope that you stick around in the future. Have a nice day.
See you next time. Class dismissed.
Dismissed.